Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Let me find my place real quick. Okay, so for everyone who is in the live Zoom audience right now, make sure you introduce yourself, name, city. If you are watching this via live stream, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, make sure we want you in the conversation as well. So introduce yourself wherever you're watching this and tell us what city you're coming from. If you want to connect with other folks kind of on LinkedIn, put your LinkedIn profile. We want you to continue the dialogue in the conversation. Today's Let's Talk is on um, taking chances later in life and the power of intention. And for those who are new to Community of Seven, there is one singular goal of these Let's Talk, and it's to create an environment where our participants can feel supported and nurture each other. This community belongs to all of us. And so make sure it's a beautiful one by encouraging each other in the comment sections, cheering each other on. I know sometimes when I always read all of the comments on via the live stream, but also on Zoom. And, some people are dealing with really heavy stuff. And, I think this is the chance for us to kind of really support each other. So if you are in the live Zoom audience and if you feel comfortable, please turn on your video cameras because we love seeing your beautiful faces. I know for me as a speaker, it warms my heart to see you all. So we're going to do a quick exercise for those who are in the live Zoom audience. Top right hand side, go into view and put this in gallery mode so we can kind of see each other. If you're comfortable, turn on your video cameras. We're going to do a quick quiz. The easy one though. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If the answer is yes, I want you to put two hands like this, okay? If you really believe it, wiggle your fingers. So first question, how many of you have ever caught yourself, tell me the truth, saying, I'm too old, right? At any point in your life. Second question, how many of you have found yourself being more risk adverse as you get older? How many feel that ageism exists in society today? Last question. How many feel that, like fine wine, you only get better with age? Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So top right-hand side, put this in speaker mode if you are in the live Zoom audience, and you should probably only see me. Thank you so much for your honest answers. I mean, this talk is so timely. And I'm so excited to have Diane back. She is literally a fan favorite. She's been on Community of Seven 3 times. Our good mutual friend Will Sullivan introduced us 3 years ago, and she has been such a role model and someone I really aspire to learn from. And she is definitely a fan favorite. She's always been, people always ask to have her back. And so today we have her back. Like I said, I'm so ready for this talk. And it seems so fitting because this year I'm turning 50. And when I was younger, 50 seemed so far away. And now that it's here, I'm so excited. I mean, shoot, I just figured out what I want to do when I grow up just a few short years ago. And at the age of 49, I have my first book, Do This Daily, coming out. Comes out on April 2nd, which is the 4-year anniversary when I got laid off from Fortune magazine. I know I'm so snarky. I purposely did it on April 2nd because it was kind of symbolic for me. It was kind of like um, I guess the I can do it without you kind of thing. And it's literally been 4 years in the making. Um, so this is why this talk on intentionality and taking chances is so important. I spent so much of my life not being intentional, not asking the questions like what mattered to me, what was important to me. We spend so much of our lives caring what other people think of us. And I think one of the most freeing things I've discovered later in life is ability to not care what other people think of me. And I think of the book by Bonnie Ware, The Five Regrets of the Dying. Bonnie was a palliative nurse dealing with people in the last days, weeks, months of their lives. And she asked them this one question: what was your biggest regret? And she interviewed hundreds of patients. And the number one regret was that I wish I had lived a life that was authentic to myself and not what others wanted from me. Here's the thing: life is short. Stop living like you have forever, that you can postpone your happiness. I'll wait for my kids to grow up. I'll wait to lose 10 pounds. I'll wait till I get that degree or that promotion to be happy. Don't wait. The average person has 77 years of life. Of those, 55 years is spent either sleeping, working, watching TV, or on social media. That means we only have 22 years to actually chase our dream, find joy, live the life we've always dreamt of. Don't wait. I've started recently breaking my life into quarters. So if we have 77 years, and if I do the math right, we have about 19.25 years for every quarter. And I figured out that quarter one is really about figuring things out. You're a baby, you're learning how to walk, you're learning how to read, you're learning how to write. Quarter two is really about making a living, right? In your 20s and your early 30s. Chapter three is really about making a life that's worth living. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And quarter four is really about legacy, nurturing those we love, passing down our stories, and leaving our legacy. So I don't know about you, but I'm focusing this season of my life on making a life worth living. I don't want to die with any regrets. When I'm on my deathbed, I want my last words to be, damn, wasn't that a great ride? Last Friday, I did a keynote for this company. And Nikhil Kumar, who is on the line, I see his beautiful smiling face, opened up for me. And he is amazing. Look him up, Nikhil Kumar. He is a laughing yoga instructor, and he was my opening act. So I did the keynote. And before the keynote to 160 employees, I got into conversation with Nikhil about today's conversation. I was like, you have to come. We're going to be talking about taking chances later in life and modern aging. And he gave this great quote from Wayne Dyer. Don't die with your music still inside of you. Don't die with your music still inside of you. So before we begin and before I introduce our amazing guests, I have two questions for you in the chat. If you're watching this in live stream, I want you to answer in the comments as well. You're involved in this conversation as well. Answer this in the chat, and I'm going to count down. Don't press send till I tell you. How many of you feel that your age limits you, whether intentionally or intentionally? Okay. Put that in the comments. And then press send. Okay, let me go into the chats. No, yes. So it's kind of split. I think I see a lot of yes, somewhat. Sometimes my age isn't limiting me. Okay, so we have like a good kind of split. The second question is, and I think this is the most important question. Once again, if you're watching this via live stream, I want you to answer as well. If age wasn't a factor, what do you wish? What do you dream of doing? If age wasn't a factor, what do you dream of doing? I know for me, it was to write a book. And at the age of 49, I accomplished my dreams. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press send. Drive a race car. Become a writer. Travel the world. Choose a different college major. Don't know. Write a book. Be a ranch owner. I love that. Changing careers. My husband is my age too, around 48, 49, and he went back to school. I am so proud of him. But he was like, you know what? I'm going back. I'm going back because he's like, it's not too late. Even though he's like a successful executive, he was like, I want to go back to school. Oh, T, I love this one. Fall in love for the first time. I love that. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your answers. I hope you remember what you wrote down for your dreams. I want you to kind of take one step closer to achieving that. I mean, maybe becoming a race car driver, maybe you just go to a course and drive fast cars. You don't necessarily have to be a NASCAR, right? If it's to go back to school and change your major, maybe it's to audit and take some classes at the local college, or maybe it's to go on LinkedIn Learning or wherever and take some classes. It's never too late to chase your dreams. So today, let me first find uh, Diane and spotlight her. Hello, Diane. You can unmute. I'm going to introduce you right now. Today, we are so honored to have with us a trailblazer, a visionary, and a true inspiration. I know she's my role model. She's known affectionately as a Gene Queen, a title that only scratches the surface of her remarkable journey. Diane's story is one that resonates with so many of us. From a light bulb moment at 59, she transformed her life and career overnight, building a $100 million brand and becoming a beacon of hope and inspiration for people everywhere, proving that it's never too late to chase your dream. Diane spent almost 30 years at HSN as the longest running fashion personality. She had her first book published in 2013, Good Genes, which is Diane's autobiography. And she followed that up with the book Too Young to Be Old: How to Stay Vibrant and Visible at Any Age. She now continues to blog for HuffPost 50 and has garnered an incredible repertoire of press attention, including interviews with Charlie Rose on CBS and the New York Times with Cassie Horns. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a warm welcome, Diane Gilman.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here.
Hi, Diane. So,
Hi.
last time we spoke, which was a year ago, you were releasing your second book, Too Young to Be Old: How to Stay Vibrant and Visible at Any Age. So, update us. What have you been up to since we last spoke last year?
Oh my God. What haven't I been up to? So let me say that I'm about to turn 79 years old. And at the age of 77, I just asked myself a question. Are you doing the most you can do? Are you being your authentic self? Are you loving your life? And the answers were no, no, and no. Now, I was in a super comfortable position. I was one of the top 3 money earning vendors for tele-retail internationally. I was #1 in fashion. I'd been there for 30 years. I was comfortable, but I had to ask myself this question: what were you as a youth? Oh, I was a risk taker. Why aren't you doing that now? Oh, I'm older. I'm kind of scared. And I realized that was all self-limiting. I wanted my heart to pound again. I wanted to do something where I felt I was building, I was growing, I was inventing, I was developing. So I just said, okay, I just bungee jump off the Empire State Building. I just told the executives, I think it's time for me to go. I didn't know what I was going to. But I knew one thing. I knew retiring was not going to be good for me.
Nope.
But I also knew, as a risk taker, not doing something thrilling, not doing something new. And you know what else? I just didn't want to be a one-note song. I loved fashion. I lived it. I ate it. I breathed it for 50 years in the business. But now I had to ask myself, what other skills do you have? Well, I was on TV for 30 years, communication skills, people skills, storytelling skills, love to tell stories, people pleaser skills, love that too. You know what? I'm not a cruiser and I'm not a golfer. What was I going to do? You know,
I'm going to
retirement,
go in and listen
walk,
while I
walking
reply.
away sounded
What?
like the scariest thing in
I have 3
history.
saved that I found last night.
And I have to
Why?
tell you, this was the best decision I ever made. After 4 weeks,
You're looking off, you're
I
thinking.
thought, I'm going to shoot myself. Something's terribly wrong here. I want to go back. I want to be safe again. I was offered my own podcast.
Who's that?
To co-host. So I started
Who is she?
podcasting. I loved it, but I thought to myself, I like subjects about women. I like my female community around me. It was a male partner for the co-host. I kind of felt bad for him because I was always talking about women stuff, women aging, our disadvantages. Long story short, someone said to me, come on, take another chance. Put on that bungee cord again. Do it yourself. Have your own podcast. I thought, yikes. I've never been on air alone, even though I bitched all the time about my hosts on Tele-Retail. Well, I did it. And in 6 months of having my own YouTube channel and my own podcast, Too Young to Be Old, we just were notified 500,000 hits on YouTube and my podcast. Woo-hoo. Wow. You know what? I'm going to say this. I know this is going to sound crazy, but these are actually the best years of my life. I'm being able to take and reinvent myself. It's like a rebirth. I'm so excited to wake up every morning. I meet incredible people. I get to talk about subjects that I think really resonate and count in our community of over 50. I've transformed myself. I am determined to just get better and better and better. And people can say it's courage. People can say it's resiliency. But to me, it was almost survival. I think at a certain point in your life, you make a decision. Aging is not easy, definitely for women. Aging is not for sissies. Do you want to put in the commitment and the time and find out more about yourself? And how can you remold it? Maybe you want to live your dream. Like, seriously, I always wanted to be an anchor on CNN. Now I get to be an anchor of my own podcast. I love it. And I'm going to be a cover girl twice this year. First, and it's coming out, I believe, next week, Du Mode magazine as an e-magazine, but also a physical magazine. And it's their 7th anniversary issue. It'll be my life story. It'll be a lot of chatter and talk, but it also has to do with writing my second book, Too Young to Be Old. Then Women Who Thrive, which is a huge organization, international, 600,000 women, came to me and said, we do an anthology book once a year. We want you to be the lead story in the anthology, and we'd like you to be on the cover of our magazine. Excuse me, but at 78 years old, just let's think about the odds of being a cover girl, getting that opportunity twice in 3 weeks. Come on, people, that has to be
Diane, you did
intention.
Diane, you did more in 1 year than most people in a lifetime.
I don't
As I
have,
sip my coffee.
let me tell you what, I think one of the best things about aging is you stop screwing around.
Oh,
You realize this is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. And you've got X amount of time. And what are you going to do with it? And I thought, wow, I want to put the pedal to the metal. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a definite legacy of happiness, productivity, hope for women everywhere who think to themselves, empty nest. These are therefore the empty years. No, these are your years. Yeah, you have to be a little bit brave, and you have to learn to love yourself in whatever state you're in. But you can make these the most amazing discovery years of your life. I'm not that special. I just knew I needed to do it to survive. And, it's so way beyond survival. It's so uplifting, inspirational, satisfying. And, I'm somebody who really believes in the power of intention. But I swear, every time I have intent, and it actually comes into the physical, like being a cover girl, I think, oh, how did that happen? And then I have to say, well, you brought it. You grabbed it from the universe and brought it into physical.
Let me pause you for a second, Diane. What does it mean to be intentional? Because everyone on this phone wants what you got. So how do we become intentional? And
I
yes.
think first of all, I'm going to just tell a very quick story because my spirit animal, even though I'm a Leo, so I'm a lion, my spirit animal, probably no surprise, is the eagle. And here is the legend of the rebirth of the eagle. So eagles can live to be 70 years old, but only if they have intention. And you're saying, really? An animal thinks this through? Between the years of 30 and 40, the eagle has to make a decision. Their talons are no longer sharp enough to grab prey. Their beak is not strong enough to bite into that prey whole. And their feathers have gotten very stiff and start sticking to their chest. So it's not so easy to fly anymore. It's almost impossible. The eagle that makes the decision to live to 70 flies to the top of a mountain. They peck their beak against boulders until their hooded beak falls off and regrows. Then they use their new beak to pull out their tired, dull talons and let their talons regrow as grippers and killers of prey. And then using both their talons and their beak, they molt and pull out all their feathers and replace their feathers. Once they do that, and let's say it's a 30-year-old eagle, it will live to be 70. It will more than double its lifetime. Take a cue from the animal kingdom. Trust me, they're so much smarter than we are. And ask yourself, are you willing to make the commitment? Because it is. I was a huge carnivore, loved meat. Loved meat, loved the fat on meat, loved creamy things like pasta Alfredo, blah, blah, blah. Not going to get me to 100 because my goal is 100. Functioning, a functional 100. So living with intention means you admit to yourself, you are honest with yourself, you are authentic to yourself. Where are you going? What do you want? I felt 75 years was not enough. I had done my bit with passion. I loved every minute of it. I could not have had a more amazing career and life. but it was time to do something else. It was time to do something bigger. It was time to give back. And I wasn't going to be able to do that. I got a diagnosis Christmas Eve of 21 that of 17, excuse me, that I had stage 3 breast cancer. And that's where intentions started. I have no family. I heard you would never survive if you didn't have family. So I had to take my fan base from television, make that my insular family. And they were wonderful. And they cheered me on. And they accepted me when I looked absolutely the scariest and the worst, because I had to go back to TV almost immediately after treatment. But that was the power of intent. You're not going to get better from cancer unless you work with it and you work to get it over it. And old age is no different. It is a condition, like cancer is a condition. And once you admit that and you say to yourself, okay, I would love to be sitting on the couch for 8 hours watching the Super Bowl, eating pepperoni pizzas and cheese sticks, but I'm going to do crudités instead with flavored olive oil. That is living with intention. And, you know, somebody just recently said to me after I got my second cover, because it's a big deal to me to be a cover girl at 78, they said, okay, no more fooling around. You have really got to get yourself in a physical shape for everything that's going to come. Yeah, they were right. That's living with intention. Quitting television after 30 years, quitting fashion after 50 years of doing it was intention. And the intention was, I think I can give more. I think I am more. And damn it, no time left. Got to find out now. I was always the mañana, mañana, mañana girl. That's how I got stage 3 breast cancer. It was like, yeah, it hurts, but I'm too busy to take care of it today. You're never too busy to reshape your life. And that reshaping, that reinvention will be such an amazing, inspiring rebirth. That's me.
I mean, you know what I love too is that your intentionality is everything, big and small. From the big decision of you kind of leaving HSN to the small things and what am I going to eat today, right? And my brother Van is watching online right now. I see him in the live streams. And our mother is 87 and she has advanced dementia. So even if you might live a long age, what's your quality of life? And about 10, 15 years ago, we started seeing the signs. And so me and my brothers, you know, we're on a text thread with my older brother, Khan, and we send each other health, you know, information. Alzheimer or dementia is, I won't say preventable, but it can be postponed by your diet, by what you eat, stress levels, all of these other things. And so part of us is being intentional. You know, we also had a case of pre-diabetes in our family. And a few years ago, during the beginning of the pandemic, I'd gained like 30 pounds in a very short period of time. And I realized my intention was to live as long as I can and be healthy, not just physically, but mentally for my daughter. And my daughter's like 9 now. And so that intention really impacted, you know, taking a walk after I eat every meal, eating less sugar, all of these little things, they seem small, but they add up. And so one thing I will kind of add, because I just did a training on this, on finding purpose. And the analogy I always use is life is like a GPS. A GPS is worthless unless you have an address. If you have an address, it will take you to where you want to go. If you don't have that address, you might get lost, you might detour, you might fall off a cliff. But if you have an address, that's intentionality, knowing where you want to go.
Oh,
so health, living a vibrant life. And when you're able to do that, It's like, I'm kind of a nerd. When I was at Stanford, one of my favorite courses was on neuropsychology, the study of the brain. And in our brains, we have what we call a reticular activating system. So our reticular activating system is telling us this is important, this is not, because there's millions of things that are happening to us on a daily basis, right? So we have to be able to fine tune what matters most. And so when we're able to be intentional, this is what I want. I want to be healthy. I want to be vibrant. I want to find my next opportunity. I want to be a cover girl. The world starts conspiring, and your brain is actually looking for those opportunities.
Oh,
So there's
yeah.
a science behind it.
Yeah. And also, I had to ask myself, all right, I'm a really good fashion designer and I love it. And I've done it for half a century and I know the ins and outs. But beyond that, what am I?
Mm.
Who am I without fashion? Who am I without a camera in front of me? What does that make me now? And then I realized I'm in my own way an age activist. I'm a storyteller. I'm a community builder. And I want to use those skills. And so I never let those words that want to ring in your brain, oh, you're too old. Oh, people were saying stuff to me and you just like have to blank them out. But it was like, why do you want to work anymore? Why don't you just go on 4 cruises a year? I hate cruises. Why don't you play golf? I'm totally uncoordinated. I mean, there was nothing about retirement that looked attractive to me. And I'm a builder and I'm a doer. And I do love a certain amount of pressure. Like I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie, but I just had to find my way. And even that was like a lot of fun. So, I watch the presidential elections and I'm not bringing politics into this, but I see Biden doing a lot of things that are very smart, like now the Middle East, da 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 da. Bottom line is people just say such horrible things about him because he's 80. Meanwhile, 2.5 years younger, Donald Trump with bleach blonde hair is considered much more vibrant. We have got to get over this hung up quality we have in this country about being so youth obsessed. And I want to say this for everybody in the audience who's 45, 50 or over. You are the majority of America. You are the spending power. You are the eyes and ears of the nation. Your experience with where America was when you were born and where it is today is invaluable. And we have got to see ourselves as a, pardon the pun, linked in community and speak all our individual voices together, making one huge booming voice, and respect ourselves and take care of one another. And if you are somebody who's in a corporate environment, and I thought about this a lot before I went on with Lon today, and you were always dreaming of being an entrepreneur, I'll tell you what, because it was my experience at the age of 59 and a half, when I invented a gene for my own middle-aged body. And then it turned out, well, it's up to about 23 million sold in about 15 years on air of a midlife gene. If you want to become an entrepreneur, do it out of your heart and your own personal experience and develop a product that is great for all of us in your age group. We, as baby boomers and beyond, are so hungry for products, for ideas, for paths of life that relate to us at this point in our life. And never denigrate where you are. Think to yourself always, Today is the youngest day of my life. I will never be younger than I am today. What am I going to do with it? What do you think, Lon? Does that make sense?
I love that. And I love that quote. I will never be as young as I am today.
Take advantage of it.
Mic drop.
For sure.
So I love that advice for future entrepreneurs. Let's talk about risk taking. Can you talk about a time where risk played a pivotal role in your personal professional life, and why is it important for us who are on this call right now to take more risks? Because the natural reaction, there's a reason why people become more conservative as we get older, right? It's because we have more to lose. We have a family, we have a mortgage.
More to protect, yeah.
Exactly.
I always took risk. I had, but here's my point. I had no choice. I felt like I had absolutely no choice but to take risk. As a child, and I was born in 1945, the day after World War II ended, there was no such thing as a career woman. And as a matter of fact, if you said you wanted to work, what did women do? They were a waitress. Or you learned to type and you became a secretary or a receptionist. Nothing ever above, nothing ever expanded. So as a child, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I was obsessed with fashion, and I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I wanted to come to New York or go to Paris and fulfill that dream. And my parents found that way too dangerous. That was not what girls did. That was certainly not their plan. Their plan for me would be, you go to college, but don't bother too much with the academics. Just find a man. That man is going to take care of you, and you are going to have children and a family. And there were no choices. And I had to make a decision, and it was really a risky decision. Was I going to give in and live a life not authentic to me, or was I going to have to leave my family behind? And I had to leave my family behind. It got really violent. It was kind of a violent household to begin with, but it's another day and another story. And so I left without a penny in my pocket and made my own way in life. I met a lot of rock and roll stars along the way, a lot of people in entertainment, because I lived in LA in the 60s. And at a certain point, I was about 26. I woke up one morning after an incredible birthday party for Rod Stewart. And I said to myself, okay, darling, you're getting a little old for this. Like, the party's over. What are you really going to do with your life? And I thought, I'm going to be a designer, but I'm going to be professional. I'm not going to be hand painting jeans for rock and roll stars forever. So I had enough money to buy a ticket to New York. I knew one person in New York, and I simply got on a plane and came to the Big Apple. Couldn't get myself arrested. Nobody would hire me. It's interesting, but for any form of show business and or design business, talent is what these industries revolve around, but the people with money never recognize talent and do not feel comfortable around it. It's not quantifiable. It's like trying to hold lightning. So, I had to get jobs being a cocktail waitress at Max's Kansas City, worst cocktail waitress in history, working at Bloomingdale's in the old ladies' girdle department. But you know what? I got something out of that. I met the fashion coordinator. Bottom line is, every single step of my life has been a risk to move forward that I did not especially want to take. And I feel like lots of parts of my life were really scary. You know, I became such an intentional person that even when I was diagnosed with cancer and the diagnosis was not great, I just thought to myself, okay, what's this going to be about? This is going to be all about chemo nurses and oncologists and radiation. And do all these people love what they're doing? Probably not. And are they going to welcome a cranky, bitchy old lady and give her treatment and she's bummed out every time they see her and bitter she's got the disease? And I made a vow to myself then, I'm going to be the number one patient, the most popular. Everyone's going to call me Little Miss Sunshine. And when I walk in, they're going to say, thank God we've got Diane today. So actually, breast cancer taught me how to be almost micro intentional and craft every day around how to get the best results for me. So when I talk about intent, even when I left television and I felt to myself, not exactly sure what I should do, but I probably could do podcasting because I like talking and telling stories. I've honed down that intent a lot. And as I hone it down and start to understand where my place is within the stratosphere of podcasters and social media, I find the results come to me more delineated and more pure. Never doubt that if you really put it out there to the universe will respond. And the other day when I got basically my third publishing opportunity with the anthology book for Women Who Thrive and the cover of their launch magazine for that anthology, which will be June on Amazon, I could actually, in a way, physically feel the universe patting me on the shoulder and saying, good job, old girl. You're doing the right thing.
Truly,
That's my story.
the universe finds you, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you're aligned with your intention and your purpose and your reason for being. I'm a firm believer in that as well. I want to read some of the comments in the chats as well as maybe on some of the live streams as well. Julia says, I think what Diane demonstrates is that you should live life to the fullest with no regrets and never give up.
Oh, and I have very few regrets. I must say, if you asked me, what are my regrets? They would be too few to mention, honestly.
Because you know what? It's what I've realized is that it's our pain and our suffering and our mistakes that shape us into who we are today.
Partially, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm watching David Hansen, and we share this shared love of this quote by Rumi. The wound is where the light shines through. And I really believe in that. Like that all of our struggles, all of our pain really make us who we are today. And while you were talking, you know, I think about who I was in my 20s and 30s. I don't think I would have been ready for the opportunities that have come to me later in life, right? Now in my 40s and 50s. And one of the things that just, when you were talking about the whole Rod Stewart kind of thing, as you get older, you gain so many stories from your experiences. And that's wisdom, right? It's a story.
It is. But when you go back to the pain thing, and I could have really done with a life with no pain, which of course would never happen. One of the titles for this anthology book and my segment of it that I'm writing is Stage 3 Breast Cancer Saved My Life. And what? A mortality-based advanced disease? Don't you mean it almost took your life, Diane? No, it saved my life. Cancer was my best teacher. cancer was the most amazing. It was like going to university. I came out of cancer. If I went in as a rough diamond, I came out as a polished, brilliant cut, I hope. You know, it rounded off all the edges, but it also taught me so much about humility and my place in the universe. And so I would say to anybody out there, you are going to go through, whether it is cancer or whatever it is, you're going to go through some really catastrophic, life-changing circumstance at some point in your life. We all do. How you take that energy and repurpose it and turn it from darkness to light is everything. And you will learn so much about yourself. I would never, without having had breast cancer, have been able to live my life with the kind of purpose and joy and respect for how precious every moment is. So
Yeah.
here's my advice, people: make lemonade out of lemons.
Yes. There's also this quote that is ringing in my ear as you're talking, and it's a bird sitting on a branch trusts not the branch, but in its ability to fly. And I think that is the whole notion of betting on yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care if society doesn't believe that I can because I'm getting older. I believe in myself.
Yeah, and I had to do that too. And I had to believe from the very first moment I was diagnosed that I was going to live. And so the attitude I took was, this is not going to become my entire life. This is going to become a segment of my life. So my life is like a video screen. There are 100 different boxes, 100 different stories, 100 different illustrations of me, a million different thought patterns going on. And I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to make something out of it that's a learning process. And that's why, and I hear people say this all the time, oh, life sucks. No, your decisions aren't the best decisions. Life is a
Beautiful.
miracle, a miracle. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
what I came away with.
open it up to questions soon. I want to read some of the comments. Donna Check says, I have about 12 of Diane Gilman's jeans, bootcut,
Thank you.
acquired over the past 7 years or so. They are the best and only jeans I wear, and I've started
Thank
many
you.
women over 50 on her jeans.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to open it to questions. Does anyone have a question? You could just let me know in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask yourself for those who are in the live Zoom audience. And if you're on live stream and you have a question, let me know as well. And I'll be looking at the comments. Anyone have a question for Diane? This is a rare opportunity to talk to
I would
Yes.
like to say
Yes.
that I was looking so forward to this. As soon as I
Thank you.
saw this, and I saw it, like DG jeans. Oh my gosh, it's that woman. I mean, I have to say that part of the whole experience of buying the jeans was your excitement over your jeans.
I love them. I love them.
Yes. And you know, it's funny because some of them I've had, I guess, 7 or 8 years. They're just now starting to get a little bit like loose in the crotch area. They have the stretch, and they are for women with real figures. But also they are for people with beautiful, no flaw figures. It's just amazing to me that
Donna is the customer testimonial. It's like,
yeah, but you know what? It's what she's saying. It's having the passion, because I have passion for what I have been doing for years, and the passion comes through on jeans.
Yeah.
And you basically changed. I think you are the person that changed the way other companies are starting to say, well, wait a minute, the baby boomers are older and they
My
don't.
God, well, do you realize that we are the majority of America? America and Japan are called graying nations because the 50 and over population is greater than under. And yet nobody caters to us unless it's some really depressing drug that you're going to take because they anticipate you're going to have a condition after
Or a woman
age.
who knows, women who know. I mean, my waist is no longer like this. Okay.
My waist was never like that. Lucky you.
Okay. We have a few questions. I want to
Go
make
ahead.
sure we get
I'm
them.
sorry.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you next, but Holia has a question. Holia, do you want to unmute and ask your question, or do you want me to ask it for you?
I don't mind asking. Hello, Diane. Hello from the UK. Really wonderful, beautiful hair, by the way. And Lan, you look fabulous too. Your hair is amazing. I love it. I love it. Us grey people, natural grey people. One, I don't think we can get your jeans in the UK. I've been looking. But two, my question was, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have a look. My question was, how did obviously you would have gone through menopause. How did you navigate because a lot of women, I'm in midlife, I'm 53. How do women sort of navigate? How did you navigate going through menopause and working?
Hormone replacement.
Thank you, Holia.
I could tell almost immediately that this was not going to be a fun ride and that I had to do something, really. My skin totally dried up. No amount of cream at any price worked. My hair started falling out. I couldn't sleep at night. I had horrible nightmares. And basically, I saw an article. This is how shallow I am. I saw an article in Vogue magazine at the time about anti-aging doctor on Central Park South in Manhattan. I went to him. I said, I'm miserable. And I will tell you literally from the first estrogen replacement pill I took, I felt a difference. Now, you have to be really careful. It has to be bioidentical. You've really got to keep under the thumb of a doctor, but otherwise it can cause other problems like breast cancer. But you've got to take advantage of the modern push for hormonal replacement. It will make all the difference in the world. Seriously.
I love that. And I want to have Michelle has a question as well. Michelle, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
I sure do.
Okay.
Hi, Diane. Hi, Lan.
Hi.
I feel like you're so famous. It feels amazing. So I want to just frame the question first based on something you said. So you said post-diagnose that you had your cancer scare, and I'm happy that you navigated your way out of that. You said you used humility, and then you said, I found my place in the universe. So I'm going to ask you, when you found or have you navigated, do you use divination, prayer, or your gut? How do you navigate?
My God, I'm very, the other day when I know this sounds so shallow, but for me, being in a business that was all about beauty and youth and so youth obsessed, to be a cover girl twice at the age of 78 it's just almost unheard of. It's like crazy, and they could have chosen anybody, but they chose me. And I honestly, physically felt God patting me on the shoulder and saying, you're good, you're worth it. Oh, I'm going to start to cry. So bottom line, I've always used my gut. I've always used my sixth sense. I've always let an idea or a threat or whatever it was settle inside of me. And then how did it feel? Did it feel scary? Did it feel doable? Did it feel overwhelming? So I very much believe in a higher power, but I believe that we've got a bit of that higher power within us. And if you just quiet yourself down and don't listen to all the extraneous noise, or else I would never have lived a life, and I'd be a 700-pound recluse in a basement somewhere on, going on YouTube every other minute or TikTok. I listen to my inner self, and I have a very firm belief that you will know when you're going in the right direction. Whatever that is, the right direction may be something that's very pleasing to you. The right direction may be helping others. The right direction may be inspiring yourself to get active again. But listen to you. The inner you knows.
I love that. So I have a question from Allison. I just turned 61 and started my own business last year, but so many of my previous colleagues have left the workforce.
Oh, yeah.
How to find a new customer base?
Well, I think you need to, if you can afford to, hire at least one younger person who really understands the internet. Everything is off the internet now. And, I have a lot of older friends, and they hate the internet, and they don't even want, email is like a new thing to them that they're hoping will just go away. And I don't even shop physically anymore. Everything I buy is online. I buy all my fashion online. I buy my food online. I buy all my stuff online, So if I didn't have a couple of really key people working with me who are 30, 40 years younger than me and understand a whole different way of life, look at it from a different point of view, it wouldn't work. So that's what you need to do. But first of all, what you really need to do is pinpoint who is your consumer. Who, like I knew the minute I put on my first jean, which I designed for me with my body measurements, I can't be the only woman in America who's thinking, I can't find a pair of jeans that fit. So I already had an inkling. I saw an opportunity. My generation of women had no fashion line dedicated to them, had got no respect for the fashion industry. And so go with what you know, go with what you love, but understand who you want to focus on. And then I say, definitely diversity of age and attitude is super important in building as an entrepreneur
if you
today.
Don't mind, Diane, I'd like to add that to that too, Allison. Is if you don't have budget to actually hire someone, there's so much resources on YouTube. You can find out.
Huge, yeah.
But really, thought leadership, depending on what you're selling, is like kind of what Diane's doing, creating a podcast. For me, it's posting on LinkedIn. When I got laid off from Fortune, I was trying to pay my mortgage, so I didn't have a marketing budget. So I basically just started posting, and I started talking to you all. I started this live stream. And sometimes when you build your own personal brand, your customers will come to you. So if you don't have the advertising budget, if you can't hire someone, then, there's so much free resources out there. Just dig in there, and then online, creating a website presence, LinkedIn, social platforms, and find your customers. They'll find you. If you have
the other thing I did was I knew at the age of 78 that was the cutoff. Okay, full stop on my fashion career. Yeah. So now I'm not making money. But I said to myself, okay, so most people, let's say, take 3 cruises a year, join a golf club, whatever. How much money would I be spending doing that? And then I said, okay, so for the next 2 years, I'm not going to take a vacation. I don't know why these balloons come out, but whatever. My cosmic self talking to me.
I think someone is sending you balloons. It's like,
no, this happens all the time. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it. So I made a sacrifice, and that again is going back to intention. I said, okay, I could be cruising. I could try golf again, although I don't think that's going to work. but I'm going to take that money that I would have spent and say, all right, that's my budget for my first year as a podcaster. And will that get me through? And yeah, so I'm careful. I'm really careful. And I know that I'm sacrificing something to do something else that I think has much higher purpose and that I really want to do. So, you know, you can't have everything all at once. I guess that's my point. I'm not podcasting from a giant cruise ship, okay? Just my living room.
Okay, so I guess we are up for time. I feel like this call could last forever. But everyone, top right-hand side, put this in gallery mode so we should see everyone. This is the only time I ask everyone who's in the live Zoom audience to turn on your video cameras, unmute yourself, because Diane deserves a big round of applause.
Oh, you're so nice. Oh my God.
You are such an inspiration to all of us.
To all of you. Yay.
And so make sure we are going to tell us, promote us on LinkedIn, you know, when you have that cover, because we will be watching and everything that you do, and make sure you buy the book on Amazon as well. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks so much.